Tattenai was the governor. That means he was appointed by the king of Persia, and his region was beyond the river that included Judea. He and his companions wanted to know why the work of building both the temple and the wall in Jerusalem had resumed. So he sent a message to King Darius asking the king to research and determine if the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem was royally sanctioned. In response to Tattenai's request, King Darius issued a decree, and a search was made of the decrees of Cyrus. Now, the Persians took a systematic approach to governing. So, as the writer notes here, a search was conducted. A scroll was found in Admetha in a palace that was in the province of Media. This detail gives us some indication that the scroll was not in the proper place. Thus, it took a level of diligence to find this decree, and God's hand is obviously at work here. Think about this. The request here was initiated by the governor over Judea. It was referred to Babylon, and then the answer came from records found in the remote city of Admetha. Since Tattenai allowed the construction to continue until a response was given, the builders had a lot of time to continue their work. This recovered decree is the original decree recorded in Ezra 1, issued the first year of King Cyrus's reign. The decree gives the Jewish people who wanted to return to Jerusalem the right to return, to repopulate Judea, and to rebuild Jerusalem. Not only did Cyrus give permission for the temple to be rebuilt, he authorized the funding of the work from the royal treasury. No doubt the temple was a substantial edifice of stone and timber. Scholars question the size of the temple described here because these dimensions would make it greater than the Temple of Solomon. The best answer is that Cyrus gave the limits of what they could rebuild. Cyrus ordered that the spoils taken from the temple some 2 generations before by Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon be returned to the temple. The fact that gold and silver items that had been taken and looted by the Babylonians, then captured by the Persians, still exist is another example of the hand of God preserving the heritage of Israel. Remember, the Persians, unlike other nations of that time, had a system that they followed. Based upon the search and recovery of the relevant documents from King Cyrus, Darius, the king now, made the appropriate command to Tattenai, ordering him to allow the work on the temple and the city of Jerusalem to continue without interruption on the original site. When you fund a project from the treasury, that means you're funding it from the taxes that you raise. So Darius could have taxed the Jewish people only. After all, the temple was for their use. But rather, he funded the project by local taxes on the citizens that lived in the province governed by Tattenai. This spread the tax burden among the people. Also, it spread the tax burden among the merchants that would most benefit from the increased population and the visitors to the temple. I often told my students that my experience in government and life says that if your project is not in the budget, your project is not a priority. We all know we put our money where our priorities are. The temple was a priority. Darius even decreed whatever the priests needed was to be given to them daily so that they could offer sacrifices. We can see here that God can work his plan through people we least expect. Now, while Darius may have had some faith in the God of Israel, his generosity was not without some motive. Not only did he base his decision on the precedent of King Cyrus, Darius wanted the prayers of the Jewish people for he and his son. But this man is being used by God. Darius makes this decree even stronger with a severe punishment against those who would violate the letter and the spirit of the decree, ordering impalement for those who defile the temple, and even cursing future kings that would dare break the precedent that he is setting in this decree. Just think about this. The king of the mightiest empire on earth at this time. No one could make him do anything he did not want to do. And yet that king commands that the temple in Jerusalem be finished by the exiles and funded by the empire. While Persian kings were known to restore the worship sites of those people they have captured, the rebuilding of the temple at Jerusalem shows that God can work his perfect plan through imperfect people at a time, using people, and in ways we least expect. That's the lesson for this week. Have a great week. Bye.